Hi there everyone, meteorologist Robert Spetta here with you on today, the 10th of March 2014. As far as the Western Pacific is concerned, today is a relatively calm and quiet day, but we still do have a lot of things to talk about, not just in the Northern Hemisphere, but also the Southern Pacific. Several storm systems continuing to brew there. We're going to touch in on that, but first and foremost, I do want to talk about what is still going on here in Southeastern Asia. The Malaysian airline that went missing over the weekend, still not found. Now, as far as news updates, I'm going to leave that to big TV news stations that have reporters on the ground in that area, but as far as the weather, I do want to tell you, as far as what happened out here in the early morning hours there on Saturday morning, it does look like weather should have not played a role. This is Southeastern Asia satellite imagery right around 1830 UTC, or about 0230. Local I put 330, and that's just about an hour off, but still the satellite imagery is correct. And this is when the aircraft would have lost its signal. I highlight it there in the red circle, and even if outside the red circle you really don't see anything. The closest thunderstorms that were possible were south of Sumatra. As far as weather playing a role, highly unlikely. A few people want to kind of contradict this imagery and say clear air turbulence could have been a factor, but not out over the open ocean with no jet stream aloft possible. In this far into the tropics, winds from surface to upper levels differ very, very little, and clear air turbulence definitely not a factor, and no thunderstorms seen here on radar. So I don't think weather would have been a factor by any means. Just clear skies out here. So that is something just to remember. We're going to continue to monitor the situation and definitely hope for the best, and hopefully we get good news here through the work week, but highly unlikely given the state of the current situation out there. Alright, so what else is going on today? Let's start to look elsewhere into the southern hemisphere. I do also want to talk about a few tropical systems going on. Oh, almost triple tropical systems. Calling them twin cyclones, though, just off the coast of Queensland. We have Gillian and Hadi here. Now, both of them right near the immediate coastline. It looks pretty grim, but look at the visible satellite imagery. Both of them not very pretty either. Vertical wind shear and just a bunch of dry air inflow. Really just working on these two. And the other thing is they're so close to each other, so they're kind of robbing each other of their energy. If you had one system, you could see a little bit more strengthening, but with two lows next to each other, all the energy in that area kind of gets stolen up by both of them, and instead of one strong storm, you get two weaker storms. So that's good news in some points. Right now, though, one of these are just kind of moving away from the coast, and also Gillian kind of just lingering out here in the Gulf of Carpentaria before pushing west. Cyclone watch is in, warning still in effect, but it's nothing that I would be too worried about outside of the risk of coastal flooding. Neither of these get above a cyclone category 1, which is kind of a weak tropical storm if we were talking about this there into the northern hemisphere. So as for now, I really wouldn't worry about them too much. This one here towards the northeast over Fiji, though, that's going to be the bigger problem, I think, because you're looking at the risk of some pretty decent flooding coming out of that. Take a look at the whole accumulation outlook here, courtesy of Weather Bell, out through the next 72 hours, and just some tremendous amount of rainfall. These are in inches. I'll move it over a little bit, and you can see kind of where the heaviest rain is going to be taking place. But the Gulf of Carpentaria, you're definitely looking at some showers. But the Queensland coastline here around Townsville, Cairns, it looks like you're going to miss the bulk of this. Still some immediate coastal areas, you're going to look at rain showers. But unfortunately, it's not going to get very much farther inland to help out some of the farmers there. And unfortunately, more so, it is not going to be helping that out. You're just going to be looking at the risk of flooding there off Dorset North. So yeah, that is what is going on with this one. I'm only going to talk about that just for a minute because our partners here at Cyclone Chasers has just 20 to 30 minute long updates on these down here, and he has a lot to talk about. So, I mean, 3 storm systems kind of working on each other. It is quite a confusing situation and definitely a tough one to forecast. Right now, we're just going to continue to follow what the Bureau of Meteorology does say and continue to watch what is going on in the northern hemisphere. And as far as tropicals in the northern hemisphere, we do have 2 areas that could impact the Philippines through the next week and a half. And 2 areas we're watching. The first one is right here, and let's go ahead and take our satellite picture we have up and zoom in on it, and we're gonna just zoom right there towards the east of the Philippines. Look at that little flare up of convection, a little rotation. That is a very weak area of instability. I'm even reluctant to call it a low pressure area, but it is bringing some moisture, a little bit of instability, and once that hits the hills here of eastern Visayas and eastern Mindanao, we are looking at some pretty decent rainfall. Let's go ahead and look at the ECMWF model. Pretty good for less than 48 hours. It starts to just kind of push on shore. Once it hits the shoreline, look at that, it flares right up. That's called upslope enhancing, and you could see some pretty heavy showers over the next week now, actually, for the next 72 to 96 hours. That's just on and off showers every 6 hours to show it there. But this is the total accumulation outlook over the next 72 hours. And you can see where those heaviest showers could be taking place. And I think given where that low is, and given that moisture inflow, and right near the immediate coastline, not over these first several hills, there is the risk of flooding through the coming weeks. So that is another thing we're going to keep an eye on. Not an organized system. Don't expect this one to become a named tropical depression by Pegasa. I think that's unlikely, but low pressure trough, pumping some moisture on shore, bringing the risk of flooding, definitely souring up people's days. At the very least, that is possible. Farther west in the Cebu is going to be unlikely. You're going to be looking at passing showers, some thunderstorms, but not nearly as much as what is near the immediate coastline. Also, the northeast monsoon off here towards the north and over towards Vietnam, you're also looking at some heavy showers due to the northeast monsoon. Well, northeast monsoon is kind of letting up at this point, but still the easterlies that continue to push through. That's what's going on in the tropics. As far as the north, first I do want to mention, I did say 2 areas. That was the first one. This is the second one. GFS model still going for something on the 18th and the 19th. Keep an eye on this. It's the only model that really wants to develop anything. I mean, ECMWF doesn't really even go out that far. That's 180 hours out. I'm going to pull it up for the ECMWF. We have a weak trough there, but it's nothing pretty. So we're going to keep an eye on the possibility of a storm system about a week and a half from making this update. I'm not going to talk too much more about that. As far as what else is going on out here today, though, we do have a storm system moving away from Japan, brought some foul weather. A new one by midweek is going to develop. You can see right there. And that could bring another shot of rain showers by Wednesday and Thursday across much of the southern Japanese islands and most of Japan. For now, foggy conditions in place. Sunny skies, for Japan. Foggy conditions in place across much of northeastern China, even southeastern China. Some light rain to drizzle indicated there in the green. Bigger problem this week is going to be the aerosols in the atmosphere, and this is out by Wednesday. Let's go ahead. These areas in blue, that just shows that PM 2.4. I have those particles in the air. Out of that low that's coming in from the west, you are going to look at some of that push-in, so it's not going to be a good breathing day later on this week. All right, that is all for now, everybody. Thanks again for watching here at westernpacificweather.com. I know I talked about a lot today, so please let me know if I covered everything there for you in the comment box below. This is actually the second time I made this update because the first one I forgot to hit the record button, so that is unfortunate. All right. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and as always, please stay safe out there. If you have any of those questions, comments, at the very least, just let me know you watched this video all the way through. It was 9 minutes long today, so a lot of stuff to go through. Thanks for watching. Bye.